Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Jessi's Journey, or if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Jessi. I am a used-to-be American expat and now full-time digital nomad. I travel the world with my job and post all my adventures here on YouTube for you. Also, every once in a while, I do post a tip or trick video like this one that you're watching right now. So if that's the type of content you like, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you get notified anytime I post a video. Now, without a doubt, the most frequent question that I get from friends, families, strangers on the internet is how I afford to travel the world. And you know, when I first started getting asked this question, mainly by friends and family, because I didn't have a following on the internet yet, but when I first started getting asked this question, I was almost a little bit, not offended, but kind of taken aback by it. It kind of seemed odd to me because you would never really go to like a doctor or a lawyer or a waitress, whatever the job may be, and be like, excuse me, how do you afford to live your lifestyle? So it seemed kind of odd to me to receive that question, but I also understand, especially because I come from a small town in Pennsylvania, a lot of people in my community don't live the lifestyle I do, and I live a unique lifestyle traveling the world full time, and so I understand why there are questions about it. And the longer I've done it, the more I've actually become really into budgeting and really into finance, and so it's actually kind of exciting to get to share numbers and stuff like that with people, and I figured, you know, it's just about dang time that I make a video about it. From now on, if somebody asks me a question, I can redirect them to this video and just get the awkwardness of that conversation out of the way, and then also hopefully if there are people considering becoming a digital nomad in the future, they can reference this video just to kind of have a feel about what life would look like. Also, that being said, you know, digital nomads can have a wide range of income. I would actually say I'm on quite the lower end of income when it comes to being a digital nomad, so also take that with a grain of salt, pinch of salt, whatever that phrase is, you know, take that into mind if you're considering becoming a digital nomad. But what I will be doing is going through my actual budget that I have, breaking down my costs, breaking down how much money I make and how much I spend and how much I save and all that kind of stuff, so that you can hear how I afford to travel the world full time. So let's stop talking and get into this video. Now, because of the nature of my job, I do have a varying income, which means no 2 months look the same. I work online with a company called VIPKID, teaching English to kids in China. I have already made a video about that, so I'm not really going to talk in detail about it today. You can check it out. I'll put a link on the screen now. But because of that, I do not make a consistent paycheck where I know the set amount I'm making every month, because I create my own schedule, I set my own hours, and you know, there are some months that are slower than others. For example, like the month of February is not a very good teaching month because Chinese New Year hits, kids aren't taking as many classes, it's a shorter month, so you just don't have as many days to teach as you would a full like 31-day month, stuff like that. So there are a few factors to take into account, and when I was trying to figure out how I was going to handle my finances for this year, I decided to create what I called my bare minimum budget. Now, I want to be really upfront about money. When I first was an expat in the Czech Republic, I had really bad money management skills. I did not have a budget. I did not have a plan with my money, and I had a ton of anxiety. I naturally have anxiety, and I do have panic attacks, and that was a huge factor in my time as an expat. As to why I was having panic attacks was because of my finances, and just feeling like every month like I was going to not be able to get food because I didn't have a control over my money. And so when I came home and decided to switch to being a freelancer and a digital nomad, I knew I really needed to take control of my money, and so I really needed to create a set budget to stick to know that I was going to be okay. And so that's how I came up with my bare minimum budget. Basically, things I took into consideration was like my general like bills that I have to pay. I pay student loans. I have to pay into my own retirement account because I am a digital nomad and I don't have a company helping me match, so I have my own IRA, things like that. My phone plan that I have, stuff like that, my bills, my general cost of living, like housing and food and things like that. And then also I took into consideration how much money I knew, even if it was going to be a slow month of working, how much money I was actually going to make. And so those were factors that I took into creating this bare minimum budget, and that's what I'm going to start walking through with you right now. I have my laptop here with my Excel spreadsheet where I created it, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm just going to talk through a couple things. Now, I am kind of nervous to talk about this because I know when I say this number, there are going to be people that are going to be shocked. They're going to think it's ridiculously low, and they're going to be like, are you crazy? You could go into a career in the career field that you studied in school and be making a minimum 4 times the amount of money you're making right now. And then there are going to be people, I know I have friends from around the world that when they hear my income level, it makes them like almost sick because they could never even, they don't even dream about making that much money because it's so unrealistic to think about making as much money as I do. So I know that, you know, this is a sensitive topic for some people to hear, but I also think it's important to talk about because I think it's important that people know, you know, just generally what a digital nomad's life looks like. And so that's why I'm willing to share these numbers. But yeah, if you're listening, please don't judge me. Please love me anyways. I care a lot about people's opinions, which I know I should, but I'm working that out at therapy. So please just don't judge me for these numbers. But all that's being said, and if I am able to edit on the screen, I don't know how advanced editing skills I'm gonna have, or also how much time I have to edit this video. If I can, I'll try to put like some infographic up on the screen calculating how much money is going where and whatnot. But let's break down this budget now that I've talked so much. So my bare minimum budget, the amount of money that I need to make every month to feel comfortable, able to pay my bills, able to have a healthy, well-balanced lifestyle, and also that I know I will definitely be able to make no matter what, is $1,200 a month. Now, oh, I just felt like my chest kind of tightened up as soon as I said that number because I realized people are gonna know that now. But yeah, $1,200 a month. Now for some, like I said, that might seem like a lot, that might seem like a little, and I'm gonna break down why this is an amount that I feel comfortable with. Now, I will also say, because I am a freelancer, something to take into consideration that I don't think a lot of people do when they first become a digital nomad freelancer is taxes are not withdrawn from your finances. So that means I get paid $1,200 a month, but then I have to take out 30%. I'm pulling up my calculator now so I can do the math of everything here. But so 30% of $1,200 is $360 a month, which leaves me with $840 left over in my paycheck. So basically, take-home pay is $840 a month. And I know I probably take out a little bit too much in taxes. I've been told by some people who teach with the company I do that they only take out 10 to 20%. I feel more comfortable taking out 30%, knowing that I'll have the money to pay my taxes when tax season hits, and then if I have leftovers, I can put that into savings or reinvest that into my company or my job or go on a trip or whatever it may be. But yeah, so basically take-home pay is actually $840 a month, and then from there the next biggest expense that I take out automatically, I have it on automatic withdrawal because it has an effect on my interest rate, is my student loan payment, and I have to pay $217.64 a month to my student loans, which is the minimum number, and that means I am left over now currently with $622.36 in my budget. I guess this is hopefully the easiest way to break it down, say how much I'm spending and then how much I have left so you can see numbers and compare. But yeah, and that's the minimum amount. Now, do I want to say this now? Do I want to say this later? I guess I'll just say it now. I have not made $1,200 since April. After that, I have made significantly more. For example, it's December 10th when I'm filming this. I got paid on the 7th. This month I made $3,000. And like I said, you have to take into consideration that does not take out my taxes. But that's significantly more money. And so I still do my finances. I keep these numbers the same every month. I pay the exact same amount for my student loans, I pay the same amount for my IRA, I pay the same amount for my food budget, whatever it may be. Anything extra that I have, so like say instead of $1,200 I make $2,200, that's an extra $1,000. I will choose to either put that into savings in a certain way, put that into my Roth IRA, or put it to my student loan, so I'm paying off my debt quicker, which I think like people have this misconception that they can't travel the world and pay off their student loans, that they have to stay home to be able to do that. It's not the case. I am proof of that. And I can also somewhat aggressively pay off my student loans. Actually, in the last 2 months, I paid off 2 massive student loans that had like a 6% interest rate, just because I had so much extra money from what I was earning, and I stick to my budget, so I like knew I was going to have that money. So important things to take into consideration. Student loans are not a factor as to why you can't travel the world if you are strategic and smart and stick to a budget. But that's what I do with extra money if I have it. So my next expense that I come out with is every month I put $100 into my Roth IRA. So if you're calculating, I currently have $522.36 left. Now those are my automatic withdrawals that just come out of my account, my taxes, my student loans, and my IRA. Those just I automatically withdraw without thinking about it at all. Obviously, the next biggest expense is housing. I need a place to live. Now, the reason I have chosen to become a digital nomad, one of the main reasons, was because of housing, also because I wanted to see the world. But anyways, to live in the US is pretty dang expensive. Cost of living is high, food prices are high, entertainment is high. You can live basically anywhere else in the world for cheaper than the US. I mean, there are a couple places that are pretty expensive, and I obviously would not opt to live in those places because I'm on a budget. But that all being said, the most money I will ever spend for housing as a digital nomad is $350 a month. And that's including like housing, and some places you pay for electricity. Most all of the time, since I'm not living in places long enough, like usually I only live in a specific place for a month. I book with Airbnb, and you can definitely afford reasonable housing on that if you're doing that. So $522.36 minus $350 means I have $172.36 left in my budget. I will say, in the last 4 months of the year, when I was in Vietnam and Thailand and Malaysia, I did not spend anywhere close to $350 a month. I think the most I paid for housing at one point was when I was in Hanoi, and it was 1000% a ripoff because I was so far outside of the city center, and I know for a fact I overpaid for the apartment for what I had amenities wise, but I didn't care because it was the first place I went to and I just needed housing, and that was $270 a month for my housing. And so if you do the calculation, that's what, $80 extra that I had to my housing category. And those $80, instead of putting those specific $80 into savings, I actually used those to fund a couple of things that I wanted to do. Like I made a video about a knife making class I did. I used some of that money to put towards that and other experiences that I did. But most of the time what I do is I'll just calculate the difference between the $350 I budgeted and whatever I actually pay, and that money I'll just put into savings, because you know, savings are important. You never know when something's gonna pop up, or when you're gonna want to do something fun, or when you're gonna want to book a flight and fly to another country. You never know. So that's where that money goes to. And then the next big cost is food. Personally, for me, my food budget is $70 a month, which brings me down to $102.36 left over in my budget. Now, I know for some people that might seem very, very low. Keep in mind, I am not married. I do not have a partner. I am very single, if anybody's watching this. I do not have any children. I'm just paying for food for myself, and I generally, I love cooking. I love cooking, but I don't do it really. And I eat pretty simply. I mainly eat like a big fruit yogurt granola for breakfast, and then around mid-afternoon I have like a big lunch dinner combo meal where it's some kind of grain like rice, quinoa, noodles, and vegetables of some sort. Like I really don't eat fancily, is that even a word? And I still get everything I need fruits, veggies wise. My camera cut off recording, and I don't know what the last thing I was saying was, but I'm pretty sure I was just going on a rant about how I still eat well, so don't judge my food order. I still get all my fruits and vegetables. And basically, I think what I was also saying was you have to keep in mind I'm living in low-income countries, so in Vietnam I could spend like $10 a week on groceries and be totally fine with what I needed. So yeah. If I'm repeating all this because that was already recorded in my last clip, I'm sorry. I have no idea what I said in that last clip before I got cut off. And I will say also what I do to make sure I'm just sticking with this in my budget. This is the only one I do this for, but I withdraw the physical cash of $70 or whatever the equivalent is to whatever country I'm living in. And I use that to pay for my groceries, so I know that I'm not going over budget. And if I go under budget, then I have extra monies to spend other places. So if you're doing the calculations, I have $102.36 left in my paycheck. I do generally put $40 into a separate savings account, which is actually for my phone plan. The reason I do that is I'm on a family plan with my mom, and I pay her the $40, but because I travel and she's not super technical, I usually wait till I come home and I pay her however many months I've been gone for. So for example, I was gone September, October, November, December. I'm paying her for 4 months, and so I just put $40 every month for the phone plan aside in a separate account so that I know I have that money to give to her, and that comes out of my budget. So basically what I have left is $62.36, and that's how much money I have to spend or put in savings personally, whatever I want to do with it, to use for the rest of the month. And for some people that might seem like a lot of leftover money. Like, you can do a lot with $60, or for some people it might not seem like anything. If you're a big, I was gonna say if you're like a big drinker, like in the Czech Republic we went out and drank all the time, but you could get a beer for $1. So same thing with Thailand, you can get a beer for like 50 cents. So, you know, I don't really know if that actually is going to be a relevant point, but you can do a lot with $60 if you want, or it can be really limiting if you like living the finer things in life. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, so all that's to say I have $60 left over. Now, I will reiterate, this was my bare minimum budget. So this is the amount of money that I will know I will automatically have and I feel comfortable spending. I don't feel like I am struggling to pay certain bills and stuff like that. It's actually something, as I go into 2019, I'm gonna have to reevaluate because I'm switching health plans because I'm turning 26, so I won't be on my mom's health insurance anymore. And there are a couple little things that I'm going to be tweaking in my budget and lines that I'm going to be adding when it comes to savings plans and personal things like that. But yeah, this is my bare minimum budget. And also, like I said, the last time I made that bare minimum number was many months ago. Since then I made a lot more money and I've seen it progress every month. I, at this point now, have a consistent teaching schedule where I'm teaching about 50 to 60 classes a week. So if you do the calculation for that, that's $500 to $600 a week, because I make $10 a class, and each class is 30 minutes. Which I think I talk about that in my VIPKID video, but yeah, that's a breakdown of how I get paid. And so yeah, I do make significantly more than what my bare minimum budget is. And like I said before, if I do ever have a lot of money left over, I choose to allocate that into personal savings, personal spending, and personal like Roth IRA and my student loan debt. And so those are things that I think what's important about a budget. People tend to think budgets are very restrictive. Budgets can give you a lot of freedom because you know where you're putting every single dollar that you earn. And so what I do every month is I sit down when I get paid and take into account how much money I have and decide how I'm going to allocate those extra finances. Do I want to give back to an organization I care about this month? Do I need to physically put this money into savings because I know in like 4 months I'm going to have a really important doctor's appointment that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket for, or whatever it may be? Do I not feel like my emergency fund is funded well enough that I want to put some extra money into that? I also should have put that into at the beginning of the video. I do have a fully funded emergency fund that covers 3 months worth of expenses. If I were to lose my job and not have income, I'd be able to cover my expenses of my bare minimum budget for 3 months, and I already have that personally funded. I worked hard to fund that, and that's actually money I've had for many years and I've just never touched, because emergency funds, they're for emergencies, and there are a lot of things you could probably try to justify as emergency, but they ain't emergencies. So just, yeah, now I'm just going into a rant about personal finance. I've actually really gotten into personal finance. I watch a lot of budgeters videos. There are so many budget YouTube channels on YouTube, which I never knew about until recently, and I've gotten really into Dave Ramsey, which I don't particularly follow step by step, but I do know a lot of his theories, I guess, and his pattern of how he does things, and I agree with a lot of the stuff he says, and even the parts that I don't, it still inspires me to get right with money. So yeah, that's how I break down my budget, that's how I choose to spend my money, and that's how much money I make. Man, it's out on the internet now. People know the number. People are either gonna think I am broke or they're gonna think I'm a baller. I don't think anybody's gonna think I'm a baller, but yeah, that is my budget, and that's how much money I make as a digital nomad. Alrighty guys, that's a beginning breakdown of my budget. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it was awful, give it a thumbs down. But either way, you can still subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave a comment down below. Like, are there any big important things you think I should be adding to my budget? Like I said, I'm going to be reassessing my budget for 2019, and I'm going to be traveling to some amazing places. I will be doing a video on that very soon, because after I go back to Macedonia for a few months, I will be going to a new continent, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, for the rest of the year. So yeah, many things that I will be adding to my budget, taking into consideration with my finances, important things like that. So if there's anything you think I'm missing, leave a comment down below, or you know, if you want to share your personal finance story and your income, if you're a digital nomad or a traveler or whatever it may be, comment section. Let's get this conversation started. Let's help other travelers out in the world. But yeah, I'll stop rambling now. I feel like I've talked a lot. You're probably sick of my voice. So until next time, guys, goodbye. That's how I say goodbye to my students every class. They're 5 years old, so they find it entertaining. You probably found it annoying. Okay, goodbye.